This conference will now be recorded.
So sorry, I was actually speaking on the mute. Okay, so I wanted to have a quick recap. So anything that you could. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anything that you could remember from yesterday?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So
Yesterday
anything?
we were discussed about two-tier architecture and three-tier architecture, entire architecture.
Okay, first it starts with a standalone architecture. Okay,
Yes.
then 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 it's a two-tier architecture. Okay, so two-tier you can also call it as two-tier. You can also call it as client server architecture, right? Okay, there are two types of client server architectures. I told you it's a very important interview question. What was that?
Thin client
Okay,
and thick client or fat client.
wonderful. Thin client or thick client or fan client. Okay, it is a definite interview question for manual testers. When I say definite, most of the times this interview question will be asked as to what is a difference between a thin client and a thick client. Okay, I hope you know it. What was that? If you say that there is a presentation layer, there is a business logic layer, and there is a database layer. Okay, so in a thick client, sorry, in a thin client, what do you have on the client? What do you have on the client?
Only presentation layer in thin client
Okay, wonderful. If it is a thick client, what do you have on the client?
is presentation layer and business layer both.
Wonderful, Alekia. So, so Alekia, nice, Alekia. So how is Alekia? Are you able to hear? So how is Abhinav? Okay, so
Yeah, he's
then
he's good.
he's good. Okay, wonderful. Tell him that I have asked. Okay,
Yeah,
then we have a
okay.
three-tier architecture. Okay, so by the way, Alekia is a spouse of a very good friend of mine. Okay, so that's why I was just checking on her. Okay, so her husband works with me on multiple projects and we work together. Okay, anyways, so now three-tier architecture. Okay, so what do you have? You have a client, and then where the business logic layer is there, what do you call that? There are two servers. One is server one, okay, and then one is server two. Okay, so on the server one, what do you call the server one where the business logic layer is? What do you call as server one where the business logic is? App
Web
server.
server.
App. Okay, wonderful. What do you call the server two where you have the database? It is a DB server.
DB
Wonderful.
server.
Okay, so that's what is a three tier. Now let's go to a four tier. Okay, obviously you have a client. Okay, you have an app server. Okay, so you have a DB server. Okay, but what extra you have? What extra you have?
Web server. Web server.
Wonderful.
Web server.
Web server, because it is a web world. Okay, for the client, for the app server to understand what is the client that has sent, it cannot do it by itself. It should have a web server, because the request comes on the web, and the web server will be able to understand and then send the request to app server, and app server contains the business logic. Okay, if it requires, it will communicate with the database server. If it doesn't require, then it will send the response back to the web server, which will send it back to the client. Okay, should I explain this once more, or everybody clear with this part? Four tier. Everybody clear? Alekia, are you clear? Okay, Alekia, Abhinav was telling me that sometimes I'm using very difficult techie words. Okay, so if that is so, just let me know, Alekia. Don't hesitate to disturb me or whatever. It's not only for Alekia, anybody. Okay, Kumar sir, you
Okay.
have used this technical word which is very difficult. I'm not able to understand. Please tell me. Okay, again, I'm screaming at the top of my voice only that you understand. Okay, not that I just I'm just feel like shouting. No, no, no. The thing is, I'm completely working with my complete energy only so that you understand. Okay, so if something is missed, or if some techie word came up and say that, Kumar sir, I didn't understand what is a build, or I didn't understand what is a server. Okay, generally I try to build the concept, then start using the terms. Okay, but in case if something is missed out, let me know. Okay, now let me open a paint. Okay, so I will draw 4 boxes for the for my 4-tier architecture. Now you tell me, what is the first box? What is the first box?
Client.
Yes, it has the presentation layer, but we call it as a client which has the presentation layer. What is the second box?
Web server.
Web server.
Web server. What is the third box?
App
App
server.
server.
App server. Okay, what is the fourth box? DB server.
Database
DB
server.
server.
Okay, database server. Okay, now let me ask you. Now let's say hang on guys, 1 second. Okay, let's say this is a production environment. What I'm saying, I'm using a term called production environment. Again, listen to me very carefully. This is a production environment. Okay, if let's say this is a production environment, what I meant by the production environment is this client is a real client. Okay, hang on guys, 1 second. Yeah. వదిలేసా, రేపు చూద్దామమ్మా, బాగుంటుందా అవుందని అలానే లాగౌట్ చేసేసి ఆ స్క్రీన్ షాట్ పెట్టి నేను క్లాస్ అయిపోగానే చూసుకుంటాను. ఓకే, sorry about that guys. Okay, my team has some questions, so they are leaving home, so they really need my attention, so I had to take that question. Anyways, so if I say that this is a production environment, this client is a real client. Okay, if I say that this is a production environment for Facebook, okay, this is a production environment of what? Facebook. Okay, which means that our Alekia, okay, Alekia is sending the request. Alekia is saying what? www.facebook.com. Okay, it is actually going to where? Going to the web server of the Facebook. Okay, then the request goes to where? The request goes to the app server. If it requires, the app server fires the query on the database. Or sends the request to the database, or people, these techie people, what do they call? Fire the query on the database. Okay, fire the query on the DB, which means that it sends the request to the database. Okay, we already discussed database. Okay, it has its own language. We have to send a query to the database. Anyways, if you don't understand this terminology, it is totally fine. So the app server sends the request to the DB server. DB server sends the response to the app server to the web server finally to our Alekia. This is what is the production server. Where the real people from outside world, when they send the request, it goes to the real environment, which is the production environment. Kumar sir, this is what is the expectation. Why are you specifically saying that it is a production environment? Yesterday also you told us the same thing. Alekia is sending the request, it goes to the web server of the Facebook. What is the difference? I'll tell you the difference now. Okay, now let's say this environment. Okay, now let's say the same thing, but this is the environment of, okay, this is the dev environment. What is this? Dev environment. Okay, dev environment. What is it? Dev environment. By the way, what is dev, guys? What is dev?
Developer and developer environment.
Developer environment, not Kapil Dev. Okay, this is development environment. Okay, this is the development environment of what? Facebook. This outside world, can Alekia send the request to the web server of this dev environment? One is yes, two is no. Can Alekia send the request to the
No.
dev environment?
No.
No. When Alekia sends the request, it goes to the web server of the production environment. It doesn't go to the web server of the dev environment. This is different. This is different. How it is different? Different means it has its own IP address 1.1.1.564. Okay, sir, Kumar sir, again IP address. I didn't heard this word before. I've heard, but I don't know. Every home has a address or not? Okay, so every home has address or not? Now Isha Training Solutions address is what? Okay, it is Tirumal Nagar, plot number 154, Tirumala Nagar colony, Tirumala Nagar colony. Okay, whatever. Okay, Nagar colony. Okay, Hyderabad. Okay, so every home, every office has an address. Now if somebody wants to come to my office, they will search for this address and come to me. Similarly, every server has a IP address. Okay, every server has a IP address. Why there is an IP address? Because when the request is sent to it, the IP address will be there, so the request will come to this IP address, okay, of the web server. This is how, if person has to come to me. Similarly, the request has to go to the web server of the Facebook. It will search for this IP address and it will go to it. Kumar sir, now Alekia didn't send the request to, nowhere Alekia has mentioned 1.1.1.564. How did the request goes here? Yes, she has typed www.facebook.com. Just like you, did you see the telephone directory? Telephone directory ever? How many of you have seen the telephone directory? In the olden days, people used to maintain this book. Have you, are you aware of it? Can somebody tell me what will be there in the telephone directory? Somebody unmute me and tell me what is there in the telephone directory?
All the landline numbers, sir.
Landline numbers or mobile numbers or any numbers. Okay, so somebody has answered. What, can I know your name, brother?
Jagdish.
Satish, is it? Okay, yeah,
Jagdish.
wonderful, Satish. Jagdish. So I'll say Jack. Is it okay, Jagdish?
It's fine.
So my first manager name is Jagdish. We used to call him Jag. Okay, so yeah, that's the history. Jag, and then the number is 801-445. Okay, 3475. Yeah, area wise. Okay, somebody said area wise land numbers. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, now what happens if our Yogita wants to call Jag? What she will do? She will go to the telephone and directory, go to J, and then search for Jag, take the number and dial it. Similarly, just like you have a telephone directory, there is a DNS. Okay, in this DNS, what there will be there? www.facebook.com is what? 1.1. Okay, 1.1.564. Okay, so what happens? First, the request which Alekia sent, www.facebook.com, the request goes to the DNS server. In the DNS server, it will match the facebook.com with that 1.1.564. Then it will send the request to the web server. Now you know how the request is going to the web server of Facebook, because there are maybe 1 lakh servers out there with different IP addresses. How did the request sent by Alekia went to the exact web server of Facebook? Because first it goes to the DNS server. Yeah, domain name server, that's correct. So in this, it will match the IP address of this Facebook. Then it will send the request to the web server. Are you clear, guys? Absolutely. J Ramakrishna said, okay, J Krishna said, Patel said, domain name server. Why domain name? This is the domain name, and this is the server which holds the domain name and their corresponding IP addresses. No wonder they call it as a domain name server. This is the server where it will store the domain names. What is the domain name? Facebook.com is the domain name. Okay, are we clear, guys? All of you, are we clear? All of you? Okay, so Kumar sir, you have deviated. We were discussing about what? Dev environment of Facebook. So when somebody, this is the web server of the dev environment. This IP address is not this IP address. This is something else. 1.1.1.587. Okay. Now, while Alekia sends the request, it goes to the web server of the production environment, not dev environment. Why then dev environment is there? Because the developer can play around with this particular environment, can play around, can deploy the code, can see what is happening, and once he is satisfied, everything is good, then he will send it to the testing team. Testing team will test it, and everything is going, everything is okay. Then it goes to the production environment. That's when the actual customers can actually access the application. Are you clear, guys? All of you, are you clear? Okay. Again, I'm asking, telling you, when Alekia sends, it will go to the request of web server of the production environment, not dev environment. Then why dev environment is there? Because the development people can deploy their code here, can play around, can see what is happening. Once they are satisfied, then they will send the request. Then they will send this piece of code which is there on the app server to the testing people so that they can test it. Are we clear? Okay. Now, now I will ask one question. Okay. So, sir, Kumar sir, you see 3 servers here. Each server comes with some price or what? Okay. Each server, it comes with some price, or simply servers are available there, people go and pick there, or they have to purchase. The facebook.com guys or the Facebook guys have to purchase these servers, or they're simply available like that. They have to purchase. So they have purchased 3 servers here. They have purchased 3 more servers. Sir, Kumar sir, just for development, just for playing around, why purchase 6 servers? I will also do the development over here. Is it okay? Development also is done in the production environment. Is it okay? 1 is yes, 2 is no. Wonderful. I want to hear from all of you. 1 or 2, just whatever your thought process says, tell me. Okay. Yeah, wonderful. So it's wonderful. Okay. So I'll take that question again. Why it cannot be done? Okay. That question will be there in your mind, right? I will cover that. Okay. I'll definitely cover that. I'll come to that. But before that, okay, dev environment have their own environment, development team has their own environment, testing team should have their own environment or not? Testing team should have their own environment or not? I'm just asking you. Yes. Okay. Yeah, testing team also have their own environment. Wonderful. Okay, superb. Okay, testing team, we are the testing team, right? Okay, testing team. Sir, what is this, testing, and I didn't get the job. Why are you saying you are the testing team? And you already got the job, you were taking. That's how your mindset should be. I am a tester now, I am a software tester. That's how you should be in your mind frame. Definitely you will get the job. Okay. So now, I'm telling you seriously, once in your mind you make up, okay, that I am the tester, it will happen. Trust me. Okay. Make up your mind, start behaving like you are a software tester. Okay. So there is something called, people call this, there is a word for this. I forgot, that thought process where you think about it, you start feeling that, and manifestation. Wonderful, Gauri. Okay, wonderful. There is something called manifestation. Okay, I believe in that. Okay, I believe that I will start a training institute. I believe that I'll make it big, and I manifested it. Okay, my cousin, his name is Srikant. Okay, so I remember back in the day, we used to watch the cricket matches, and any cricket match which happens in Australia, the match starts at 7 a.m. IST or 5 a.m. IST. Okay, so me and my cousin used to wake up early in the morning at 5 o'clock just to watch the matches which is happening in Australia. And he's so fascinated by that, that Sydney grounds, and then that buildings and all that. He said, I wish I go to Australia. I want to go to Australia. He always used to say, in the test match would last for 5 days. We used to watch every single ball for 5 days. In 5 days, he used to repeat 30 times. And you trust me or not, after his BTech, he went to Australia. Okay, so that's what I believe. Once you start believing that, you need it, or you want to be it, or you will be that. Okay, you eventually manifest it. You start behaving like that, you start thinking like that, you start doing the things in that way, so eventually you manifest it. There is a book as well on this. Anybody heard this name book? Oh, Gauri, you are in Sydney. Wonderful, Gauri. Okay, so maybe you have manifested as well, Gauri. There is a book called, what was that book, which talks about manifestation. Hmm, I'll talk, if anybody knows that book, tell me, what was that book? Very, very popular book, Uh, Anybody remember talks about manifestation, thinking about it, making it happen? I read that book. Anyways, tomorrow I'll try to search for that book. Anyways, so start behaving like testers, guys. That's what the point is. What I am trying to make is start behaving like testers, start talking like a tester. Okay, and try to manifest it. It will definitely happen. Okay, so you are the testers. So you need yes, Ahmed. The book name is The Secret by Rhonda. Okay. Oh my God, a lot of people are like me. Okay, if you haven't read this book, yeah, try to read this book. Okay, I like the book though. Was anyways, okay. Um, Not after reading the book I've started the institute. Okay, but it is a different story altogether why I started the institute. Okay, but anyways, coming back to this testing team, sorry, yeah, this, you're the testing team. You need your environment or not? Yes. So you have your own web server, you have your own app server, you have your own database server. Okay, so Kumar sir, okay, why okay, the client here is the testing team. Okay, so you are the testing team. Let's say our Gauri is a tester. So client is the Gauri here. Okay, she will be sending okay, the request to the she will be sending the request to the web server. Gauri, only Gauri or the testing team will know the IP address of this web server, or they will give you some domain name which says test.facebook.com. Okay, so they will say that instead of www.facebook.com, what they will say, okay, test dot, okay, I'll try to delete it and write it again. Instead of saying www.facebook.com, what the people will do here, or the development team or the installation team, okay, test.facebook.com. okay, only Gauri or the testing team knows about this URL. Nobody from the outside world will know about this URL. Only Gauri will type this test.facebook.com, then it will go to the web server of the test environment. Web server of the test environment, it will have its own IP address, maybe 588. Okay, it will have 588. Okay, it will have 588 or something like, or let's say 58 itself, 1.1.1.58. wonderful. Okay, superb. So now the test, the Gauri will say www, instead of from outside world, you will say www.facebook.com, but Gauri will say for testing and for in the testing environment, it is test.facebook.com. The request will go to the web server of the test environment. Are we clear, guys, or am I confusing you? Are we clear? Are we clear, all of you? Okay, because the request has to go to the web server, test environment web server, not the production environment web server. Okay, so Kumar sir, why waste so much money? 3 servers you have purchased here, just for testing purposes you are purchasing the servers. What is the big deal? Each server will cost you maybe 10 lakhs or more than that. So each server just for testing purposes, why you are spending so much money, sir? Okay, or maybe I don't know, 10 lakhs or 5 lakhs or 1 lakhs, but it will be in lakhs only. Okay, it will be good amount of money. Okay, why you're testing? Why don't you test on production? Okay, that question is there or not? The why not test on the production? Okay, why waste so much money? Okay, they would have given that money as a salary to me. I'll purchase a home in Hyderabad, in Bangalore, in Chennai. The prices have become so high. Why put so much money into these servers and then waste the money? That question is there or not? All of you, I'm asking you guys, right? So the thing is, okay, Facebook is okay. Let's say this is a banking environment. Okay, let's say this is a banking environment. Okay, and then Gauri said I wanted to test a deposit test case. What Gauri is doing? She wants to test the deposit test case, or she wanted to test the deposit functionality is working fine or not. What Gauri will do? She will deposit 10 lakhs. Okay, 10 lakhs into, she will deposit 10 lakhs into our okay, Syed's account. Okay, Syed is already happy. Syed, you are 10 lakh richer man. Are you there, Syed? Are you listening?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You should thank Gauri because she is testing it. Okay, so she wanted to test which functionality? Deposit functionality. Okay, now deposit functionality, and she has deposited 10 lakhs into Syed's account. Okay, but what happens if it is a testing environment? Nothing will happen. It is good. But if this is a production environment, and production environment is used for testing, and what? And our Gauri has deposited 10 lakhs, have deposited 10 lakhs into our Syed's account. What will happen to Syed's account? This is a production environment, which means that the everything over here is real. Now, if Syed will go back and check his bank account, 10 lakhs will be increased, because this is a production environment. Whatever you are doing over here, it is all real. It is all real. And if you are using for the testing purposes, and our Gauri has deposited 10 lakhs, now the money actually gets into Syed's account, and Syed will become 10 lakh richer. Are you understanding what will happen if you're actually testing into production? Are you getting it, guys? Understanding, everybody? Or am I confusing you? People are leaving, that's why I'm asking. Am I confusing you?
No, sir.
Okay, so that is the reason why you never test in the production environment, because whatever you do in the production, that is the reality, and the other people can easily access it and see what is happening as well. And just for testing purposes, you have deposited 10 lakhs, or deposited is fine. If you have withdrawn 10 lakhs, if you have withdrawn 10 lakhs, okay, so, and imagine what is the fate of Syed. Okay, for earning 10 lakhs, probably earning 10 lakhs is okay, but saving 10 lakhs is very, very difficult. You understand, right? Okay, you can earn 10 lakhs in a year, but you can never save 10 lakhs in a year. It takes 2 to 3 years for a normal employee. Okay, people like a software employees, usually these days they are making anywhere from 20 lakhs to 30 lakhs per annum. Even for these guys, after taxes and school fees and all that, okay, saving 10 lakhs is very, very difficult. Okay, that's why you never do any testing on production. Okay, so Sayali and Shirin, I am talking about it. So Sayali and Shirin, tell me which part you haven't understood. Okay, this is very, very tricky. I want you to understand this very carefully. So Shirin and Sayali, please unmute yourself and tell me which part you haven't understood. The bank example. Okay, Sayali, it's
Sir,
a bank example.
Bank example. Can you explain it again?
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, no issues. Let's assume all this while we have been thinking that this is an example of Facebook, but just to explain this concept very clearly, let's assume we are doing this is the environment of the banking, okay, or this is the architecture of the banking. So this is the production environment of banking or ICICI. This is the dev environment of the ICICI. This is the testing environment of ICICI. Okay, so Shirin, are you okay so far? You keep yourself unmuted. Okay, let's talk. Shirin, please keep yourself, or Sayali, please keep yourself unmuted. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, so now you see, let's assume our Gauri, who is a tester, manual tester, wants to test it. Okay, for whatever the reason, they thought that they will save the money by not creating a separate testing environment. They want to test on the production environment itself. Okay, are you okay, Shirin, so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now Sayali, okay, wonderful. So now so Gauri, she wants to test two functionalities. One is the deposit, one is the withdraw. Okay, so she is testing the deposit functionality of the banking application. She deposited 10 lakhs into the Syed's account. She deposited what? 10 lakhs into the Syed's account. Okay, now the actual money will be deposited into Syed's account. Now Syed also is checking, okay, maybe after 1 hour or 2 hours, Syed, who is also client, right, he has an account, so he can go to his online banking application, he can check what is his balance. So he is also client, so he fired the request, or he sent a request to the web server saying that he wants to look at his bank balance, okay, or account summary, or what is his money. So now Syed's earlier, let's say Syed has only 1 lakh in his bank account. Now for testing purposes, Gauri has deposited how much? 10 lakhs. So overall, now it will show as 11 lakhs.
Yes.
So simply Syed has become 11 lakh richer, or 10 lakhs richer. But is that how it should be? No, right? That is, this 10 lakhs is not Syed's money actually. Only 1 lakh is Sayed's money. Okay, so if you're using this production environment for testing, you're messing up the whole thing, and people start looking at wrong things on their accounts. Are you understanding, Shirin
Yes,
and
sir.
Sayali? Okay,
Yes.
that's why we never use production for testing purposes, because production is the real environment where real things are there, and you're simply playing around. Then the actual customers will get confused, and they think that this bank is a not so quality bank, and then they will leave or close the bank account. Deposit, it's still okay because he has become richer. What if she has withdrawn? Okay, withdrawn the money. Gauri is testing the withdrawal test case, and she has withdrawn the 1 lakh. Then Sayed has lost 1 lakh, and he will be totally pissed off. Okay, don't you think so, Sayali and Shirin?
Yes.
Okay, so that is the reason why this testing environment is there, just to play around, because whatever you do this environment, nothing will happen to production. No outside customers can access this environment or these servers. So this is more like your playground. If you ask me, this is more like your net practice. This is more like your real match. Are you understanding, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are we clear absolutely now, everybody? Not only Shirin and Sayali, why we don't do the testing in production environment? Everybody, guys, not
Yes, sir.
just Gauri or Jagdish or Sayed. I want everybody to answer this. Alekya, are you clear? Jagdish, yes, wonderful. Sayali, Kavita has responded. Jyoti, okay. Jay Krishna, Divya, Gauri, Sai Prasad, okay, wonderful. Okay, if you didn't understand, please tell me, guys. Again, these are very, very important things. Visually, you need to understand, so that when you go to the interviews, you can confidently talk about it. You can talk about now the production environment, dev environment, testing environment. Okay, now you see what happens. The developer will first deploy his code on this app server. He will test, he will do whatever the testing he wants, and once he is happy, then he will deploy the code on the testing environment. He will deploy the code on the testing environment, and he will say, Gauri, the testing environment is ready, or the code is deployed, start your testing. Then Gauri will be testing her withdrawal functionality, deposit functionality, account summary functionality, statement functionality, order checkbook functionality, everything Gauri will be checking. Are we clear, guys? First, what we'll do, the developer will develop the code on this app server, develop the code on his desktops, deploy the code on the app server, and he will check if everything is good or not. Then what will the developer will do? He will transfer the code or deploy the code into the app server of the testing environment. What is happening here in the coding phase? In the coding phase, what will happen? Coding phase, what will happen? The developer will develop the code and probably deploy the code in the development environment, check everything is happy. And after the coding phase, what is the next phase? After the coding phase, what is the next phase, guys? After the coding phase, what is the next phase? Testing
Yes.
phase. In the testing phase, what will happen? In the testing phase, what will happen? The developer will deploy the code on the testing environment, the app server of the testing environment. Once the code is deployed, what the development team will say, or development manager will say, the environment, testing environment, or they say that environment is ready for testing. Now Gauri and her team will wake up from the hibernation, and then they start testing all the functionalities of the banking, saying that, okay, let me test the withdrawal functionality, deposit functionality, or what all the functionalities are there. Gauri and her team will start testing it. Are you clear, guys? Are you clear, guys? Everybody? After the testing environment, testing phase, what is the next phase? Everybody,
Deployment.
somebody, sorry,
Deployment.
after deployment or delivery and maintenance. Okay, delivery and maintenance. So in the delivery and maintenance, what will happen? In the delivery please ignore the spelling mistakes, guys. Maintenance. Okay, in the delivery and maintenance phase, what will happen, guys? What will happen? You are actually delivering the code to the end client, which means that this code which has been tested here, now that code will be deployed in the production environment, maintenance and delivery. Wonderful. Okay, whatever the code you have deployed here, okay, that code will be deployed in the production environment. Now everybody in the world will be start using this code, or will be start accessing this code, or will be start using this application. Are we clear, guys? Now are we clear? The entire SDLC I'm covering in terms of the environment. First, the code goes in the app server. Whatever the testing he will do, and then deploy the code in the testing environment, and tell the testing environment is ready, and our Gauri and the team who are the testers will test it. If everything is good, then this code will be deployed into the production environment as a part of maintenance and delivery phase. If something is wrong, okay, if something, the functionality is not as per the functional requirements, what do you call it? Gauri and testing team is testing it, and the functionality, or she is testing it, and something is not as per the requirement. What do we call it? Something is not as per the requirement. What do we call it, guys? Defects. So you can have one defect or multiple defects. You can have one defect or multiple defects. One defect means one, multiple defect is two. You can have only one defect, or you can have a number of defects. Any number of defects. All the defects will be identified. If there are no defects, then it will go to the production environment as a part of delivery and maintenance. If there are defects, then all the defects will be sent to the development team. Then the development team will modify the code, to fix the defects. That modified code, earlier the build was build 1, okay, so now after the defects are there, then you called it as build 2. Now the build 2 is ready. Now what happens? The build 2 will be deployed in the app server, and again the development team will say your build 2 is ready, build 2 is deployed, and the environment is ready. Build 2 is deployed and the environment is ready. Again Gauri and team will be testing it. If there are defects, then send the defects to the development team. The development team will modify the source code. Then there will be build 3. Then the development team will come back and deploy the build 3 in the testing environment. Again they say that testing environment is ready for testing, or environment is ready for testing. Again Gauri team is testing the application. This time around, let's say the code, there are no defects. Now you go to the client and say that the testing is ready, we are ready for the delivery and maintenance phase, guys. Now the client will say, okay, I'm happy, go ahead and deploy. Now you tell me, now build 1 will be deployed over here, or build 3 is deployed over here? Tell me, guys.
Build 3.
Build 3 is deployed because build 1 has some defects, build 2 has some defects, build 3 is the one which has no defects. So that will be deployed in the final production environment. Okay, one more thing here, guys, again and again I'm telling, you can never have a complete defect free. At least in most of the projects I have tested, there will not be 100% defect free build. Okay, defect free source code or build. Okay, source code or build. Okay, why, Kumar sir? The whole purpose of doing testing is to identify the defects and fix the defects. But why are you saying that you cannot have a complete defect free product? Why? Anybody give it a guess? People are lazy. People want some defects in the production. Give it a guess, guys. I'm telling you, you cannot have it. There are two reasons for that. Okay, at least tell me one reason.
It
I'm
is
clearly saying that
human error,
there
sir.
is a wonderful. First one is Gauri is still a human. Then she might not be smart enough to catch all the defects on the application. So that is the one thing. I can just say that we are just humans. We are just humans. So all the times there are mistakes. So you can never catch all the defects. So second one is, what is the second one? What is the other one? That is there. The client required new features, then the new features will come as the requirements. Then there will be a BRS, SRS, then there will be analysis, and all that will be there. Finally there will be coding and testing. So new features always there. Okay, when the new feature comes, then the new BRS will be there, then the SRS will be there, then there will be a high level design, then there will be a low level design, then there is a source code, then there is a testing, and finally it goes to production. Okay, wonderful, Rohit. Time limitation. Okay, then the client say that I want the whole thing to be ready by, the whole code or the application to be ready by, okay, August 30. Okay, so these guys, by the time they complete the whole STLC and all that, okay, so this August 30 has reached, then what happens? There will be some defects which are known defects. This goes as what? Known defects. We already known that there are defects, but we don't have the time, the developers don't have the time to fix it and again test it. Fixing is not the only thing, but again testing needs to be done. So the developers will not have the time to fix those defects, or even though the developer have the time, the testing team might not have the time to fix it because of the time limitation. Okay, the time deadline has reached, still there are some defects. Then they say that with this known defects, I am releasing this product. Okay, they will also go to the client and say that, boss, this is good, but there are few defects which are not so important. I will deploy this application or release this application, and in the release notes, I will mention all the known defects. In the next release, this August 30 is done, right? The next release will start with September 1st with all the new features. So when the new release starts, okay, in the new release, what will be there? The new features will be there. Okay, so with that new features, we also try to fix all these known defects. But for now, just to go ahead and deploy it, this will not cause too much of a problem to the end customer. Okay, that should not be a problem. Okay, understood guys? Understood why there will be some defects in the final product? Yes, we are just humans, there will be some human errors. Second thing is, yes, time limitations. August 30 the project needs to be done. The client will say, if I leave you, you will also complete this August, next August also. So no, complete it by this August itself. So whatever possible will be done, and some defects which are there, so those defects we will call it as a known defects, we will fix it in the next release. Are you understanding guys? Everybody, is it clear everybody, or confused? Build, release, all these words you are using, sir, so confused everybody? All of you? Alekia, Swati, all of you, I want to hear from all of you. Surya is also there, Uday is there. Uday is not speaking or typing. Reyaz, okay,
Yes, sir.
Radhika Reddy, okay, Sheikh, Divya, everybody, are you clear?
Yes,
Somebody, I'm seeing new names, guys. The words like release, build, and all that will be new to you because we have spent so much time explaining what is a release, what is a build in the previous class. Somebody who is attending from today, yes, it will be difficult for you. Okay, but somebody who is attending from the first, they should understand this very clearly. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so now if I start speaking about test environment, are you clear, guys? Everybody, or will you be confused? If I will be start using the word called test environment from now on. Are you clear? Yeah, wonderful guys, wonderful. Okay, so now, but also you understood what happens in the real world. Team will have its own servers. They will develop over there in that environment. Once they're happy, they release it to the test environment. We will play around in our own environment. Nobody in the world will be affected. Only this environment, only the testing team knows about it. We play around with our own environment, and then finally everybody is happy. We have the final build. That build goes into the production environment. This is very, very serious. Whatever happens here, this is the real thing. Okay, a deposit happens, it is a real deposit. A withdrawal happens, it is a real withdrawal. Sorry, withdrawal, and the money is actually gone from your bank account. If a deposit happens, the money actually comes into your bank account. This is what is the production. Okay, superb guys, superb. Okay, so now this is covered. Okay, by now I think most of the people understood what happens in the IT field. Got it, guys? What happens in the IT field? Most of you know, like how the testing happens. Now you didn't written the actual testing and all that, but overall on the high level understood what will be happening. How the code will be deployed, how these new builds are coming, how this flow is going. Got at least ballpark idea by now, Sanju baby? Sorry, here it says Sanju baby, that's why I said Sanju baby. Okay, so yeah, not to, I mean, yeah, please don't get offended. Okay, so wonderful guys, wonderful. Now earlier, okay, earlier we before we come to this environments, we spoke about two sorts of testings. Okay, there are two sorts of testings. Okay, sorts of testings. What were those two sorts? What were those two sorts of testing? What were those two sorts of testing, guys?
Functional testing and non-functional testing.
No. Sorts of testing. Sorts of testing. There are two sorts of testing.
Manual and automation.
Manual and automation.
Okay, and what is the second one?
Conventional and non-conventional testing.
Conventional.
Okay.
Conventional and
Okay.
unconventional.
Testing. Okay, so conventional and unconventional. Conventional means what? Whatever you're doing in this testing phase, right? Once the code is deployed into this testing environment, then you start testing the actual application. That is your conventional testing, where you write the test cases and execute your test cases. Okay, and execute your test cases. Okay, wonderful. Okay, unconventional testing means what? Document verification. Okay, and then process verification. Okay, we have discussed about this, right? People also call this as a static testing. People also call this as a static testing. Wonderful, guys, wonderful. Okay, now I will discuss about testing methods. Okay, testing methods. What I'm saying, testing methods. This is also, we call it as testing techniques. Okay, testing techniques. Okay, by the way, if you haven't understood about these things, it is totally fine. You can still be in the manual testers. If you know any QA or manual functional testing, guys, go start talking about all this. They will be lost. Okay, even after 5 years, 10 years now, they will not be able to clearly understand what is the difference, how these things happens and all that. So if you didn't understood any of this, it is still fine. You can be a manual tester, I'm telling you guys. Okay, but I want you to be a good manual tester. When you go to the interviews, I want you to start talking about this environment much more confidently, and that's why I have covered all that. Okay, techniques, TECHNIQ, right? QUES, techniques. Okay, wonderful. Okay, there are three techniques, guys. Today I will cover these three and try to close it. One is black box testing. Okay, black box testing. Second one is what? Any idea, guys? Second one?
White box.
White box.
Gray box and the white box.
Box testing. Third one is
Gray box.
Gray box.
Gray box.
wonderful, guys. Gray box. Okay, the ones which are not black and white, it is gray, right? That's what they say, right? Gray area. Gray area means we cannot say if it is right or wrong or black or white. Okay, they say that there is a gray area around that, which means that, you know, there's a confusion. It's not black and white. It's not as black and white as possible. That's what people say. So that's why they call it as a gray box, I think. And this white box testing, they also call it by another name. Any idea? Glass box testing. They also call it by another name. Any idea? Wonderful. Okay, clear box testing. So if you know white box, it is fine. Okay, that is fine. Okay, now okay. So I'll go back to this picture. Okay, forget about this testing environment, production environment and all that. Okay, so forget about all this for now. Okay, forget about all this for now. Okay, again I'm saying, if you didn't understood any of it, it is still fine. Okay, if you're testing, okay, if you're testing only on this presentation layer, okay, if your testing is limited to this presentation layer, then this is what is called white box testing. Sorry, not white box, black box testing. Okay, so if your testing is limited to the only the functional part, the presentation layer. Okay, okay, so I've muted you guys. Somebody was speaking over. But if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and speak. But there seems like, they're speaking with somebody else. I have muted. Okay. So if your testing is only limited to this client area, or if this is completely limited to this presentation layer, or we call it as a functional part. What do we call it as? Functional part. Okay. If your testing is limited to the functional part, we call it as black box testing, which means that, okay, so I'll tell you one example. If it's a banking application, okay, from your online, you open what? You open the online banking application, okay, you open the online banking app, and what do you see? You check if login functionality is working fine or not. What do I mean by this? If login functionality is working fine or not? Okay, if I enter a valid username
Not.
and valid password, okay, if I enter a valid username and valid password, okay, if I enter a valid username and valid password, okay, am I able to log in or not? That's what you're checking. Okay, then you're checking the login functionality. Okay, this is the functional testing. This is what is the functional testing, the functional part, or black box testing. This is what we call it as black box testing. You don't know what kind of source code is there for checking the what kind of source code is there for this login functionality. We don't know what kind of data is there in the database. We don't know what kind of code is there for the on the web server for this particular functionality. We don't know anything of it. We need not have to know anything of it. We just need to know that on the page there is a field called username, there is a field called password, there is a button called login. Enter the valid username, enter the valid password, click on the login button. That's what you will do. That's it. That's what is called checking the functional part of the application. What is it? Checking the functional part of the application. This is what we call it as a black box, because this whole box is black to you. You cannot see, or you need not have to see this box. What this box contains: a web server, app server, and database server. You need not have to see anything in this box, or you need not have to know that there are these 3 servers. You need not have to know the source code is there on this. You need not have to know the web server is there here. You need not have to know what kind of database it is, how much data it is there, how many tables are there. You need not have to do anything. So this is what is called black box testing. This whole thing is black to you. Black means you cannot see it, right? You cannot see it, or you need not see it. This is what is the black box testing. Sir Kumar sir, checking the login functionality itself is functional testing, black box testing? No. You will deposit some money and check the deposit functionality. You need not have to know which part of the code will be executed and executed in the app server, and how which table is updated in the database from 1 lakh to 10 lakhs. Okay, let's say you have deposited 10 lakhs. Okay, so obviously the data in the database will be updated. You need not have to know how it is updated, what will be updated, and which code is run here, how the requests are going. Nothing you need to know. Okay, just here go to the deposit screen, put the money 10 lakhs and press on deposit button. The money will be deposited. Withdrawal is also same. Bank transfer, account transfer from one account to account. So all you need to know is on the front end, you click on the account transfer button. You know from account to account how much money, 1 lakh, transfer it, money goes. That's it. That's what you're checking. The money has been transferred, and you will check. Okay, so you have transferred the money from Praveen to Yogita. Okay, Yogita. Okay, how much? 1 lakh. Okay, 1 lakh. So 1 lakh. Okay, now Gauri is the tester, right? Okay, she will go to the account transfer screen. From account she will put Praveen's account. To account she will put Yogita's account. In the money she will put 1 lakh, and then she will press on what? Transfer button. Okay, transfer button. What will happen after this? Once the transfer button is pressed, what will happen, guys? Somebody unmute yourself. Okay, SMS will be generated. Okay, Gauri will enter the SMS, and then click on send button. Okay, send button. Then money is transferred from Praveen to Yogita's account. How much? 1 lakh. So money is transferring or not, Gauri will check from the front end itself, from the presentation layer itself, from the browser itself. She will not go check what is happening in the app server, what is happening in the database server. Nothing. She need not have to test it. Okay, and she will come back and check if Praveer's account is money has been deducted, and in Yogita's account money is added or not. That also she needs to verify. This verification is all completely happening from the front end, from the presentation layer, from the Microsoft Excel, or sorry, Internet Explorer or the Google Chrome, whatever the browser is there here. From there, all this validation or checking is happening. So this is what is black box testing. And Gauri, she need not have to know anything about what is happening at the back end. And this is what is the black box testing. And this is what all the functional testers or manual testers, or whatever you call them, functional testers or manual testers, okay, or QA people will be doing all this. Okay, all these manual testers, QA people or functional testers will be doing this black box testing. They need not have to know a shit about all of this. Are you understanding, guys? Are you understanding what is the black box testing? Everybody,
Sir,
I want 37. Yeah, please go ahead. One question. Yeah,
so
whoever is asking.
will this be called a testing environment? Because
This will be done on the testing environment, no doubt about it.
okay.
Yes, definitely this will be done on the testing environment. Okay, yeah. I want to hear from all the 37 people, guys, because this is very, very important for you to understand what is
Yes.
the black box testing. Wonderful, wonderful. So, Kumar sir, black box testers, this whole thing is black. White box testers means they need to have the knowledge of all this. Yes, white box testers. White box testers means what? They not only test the front end, but they also test the code. Let's say this code is done on Java, then the white box testers will open the Java code, will execute the Java code, will check each and every piece of Java code, and they see that, you know, if the code is running fine or not. That is what is the white box testers. Are you understanding, guys? Are you understanding? Are we clear?
But white box testing mostly done by the developer or QA, the tester.
Generally, the white box testers, if the company has enough money, then they hire something called white box testers. Okay, we call them as white box testers. Let me see in Naukri, are there any white box testers these days? Okay, one second. Earlier, you know, I used to, when I start applying, I used to see white box testers. Why it is saying this? Hang on, guys. 1 minute.
Because I went to the Google. Google is saying most of the time this testing done by the developer itself, because tester don't have the coding experience and the knowledge.
Yes, brother, that will be there. But what I'm saying is, generally, if the company has the money, if the company has the money, then they will hire separate white box testers. Okay, just checking if there are still positions. You see, test engineers, white box and black box testing. Okay, automation test analyst, application and white box testing. Yes, still there are positions for white box testers. Okay, if the money, if the company has the money, yes, there are separate position called white box testers. If the company doesn't have the money, generally the developers will do the white box testing. Okay, I will explain this much more clearly when I talk about levels of testing. Okay, when I talk about levels of testing, okay, when I talk about levels of testing, I will cover this very, very clearly. Sure.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so when I talk about levels of testing, okay, so I talk about this white box testing. Unit testing, there is something called unit testing. This is a white box testing. Okay, this is done by what? This is done by whom? Developers. Okay, then there is a next test called, sorry, then there is a next level called module level testing. Okay, again tomorrow I'll cover this module level testing. Okay, module level testing. This is again what done. This is a black box testing. Okay, this is black box testing done by whom? Done by whom? The QA or functional testers or manual
Tester.
testers or testers. Okay, then there is something called integration level testing. Okay, integration level testing. Okay, for this again white box testing is required. White box testing is required. This is white box testing. White box testing, again a white box testers or developers. white box testers or developers. Okay, are you understanding, guys? Are you understanding? Okay, that's why I haven't answered that question clearly. Okay, when I speak about this,
Yes.
it becomes very, very clear to you. Okay, then there is something called system testing. Okay, this is again black box testing. Black box testing means what? There's no coding required, so he's done by whom? Testers. Okay, like this. And there is something called user acceptance testing. This is also what? Black box testing. This is the black box testing means what? Done by whom? Testers. Okay, so this is what
Tester.
it is. Yeah, tomorrow I'll talk about this, but for now try to understand what is a white box testing and black box testing. That's it for now. Okay, so tomorrow I'll talk about these levels of testing, and then when we talk about the levels of testing, then certain levels need the coding part, or I'll call it as a structural part. Then it is called white box testing. You see, WHITE, this is WHITE, guys. I have such a spelling mistakes. I'm very, very bad at spellings. Okay, you see, so the white box testers, black box testers means they need not know what is happening here. Only from the front end they will be doing the testing, as I've told you here. Okay, white box testers means they need to know the code which is written over here. They execute the code on Eclipse, and they will making sure that the programs are executed fine. Then this is what is white box testing. Okay, now gray box testing. Tell me, what is gray box testing, guys?
This is a combination of both white bots and the black bot.
Wonderful, wonderful. The
Here,
gray box
both the
testers.
tester and the developer will do the testing together.
No. Gray box testers will be there, which means that he should be able to do. Sometimes he should wear the cap of a tester. Sometimes he should wear the cap of a developer. Understood? Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes he should wear a cap of a tester, means he will do the black box testing. Sometimes he has to wear the cap of a developer, means he has to have the knowledge of the Java, and he has to do the execution of the programs as well. Understood? All of you, he needs to do the
Okay.
both. One person itself needs to do the both. So now that you understood the three things: white box testing, black box testing, and gray box testing, tomorrow we will talk about the levels of testing, guys. Tomorrow I'll tell you, is there a festival called Raki? I don't know tomorrow is being celebrated or day after tomorrow. If tomorrow it is not being celebrated, we will have a class. Should we have a class tomorrow, guys? Please tell me. One is yes, two is no. I
Yes.
don't want anybody to miss out. Okay, if you have somewhere to go and missing out, let me know. We'll cancel the class, because there will be some
Yes.
ladies who will be
Tomorrow
going
we.
to. Yeah, tomorrow we have the class. Okay, so let's have the class tomorrow. Everybody wants the class, which means that you guys are enjoying the class. I'm so happy about it, guys. So how many of you finding it difficult to understand this, whatever I'm speaking or whatever I'm teaching? How many of you are difficult to understand? Just raise your hand, say that yes, I am facing the difficulty. Somebody can unmute themselves or tell that yes sir, I'm facing the difficulty. Okay, so wonderful. Looks like everybody is understanding. Looks like everybody is wonderful. Thank you, Kavita. Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, so wonderful, guys. So let's complete tomorrow. We'll come back and complete the levels of testing. Okay, and then we'll quickly jump into the different software process. Okay, there is something called Scrum, there is something called V model, there is something called waterfall model, and there are other models, but I'll cover only the ones which are important. Okay, and then we will go into the actual testing part, guys. Okay, so this week,
So
at
I
least
have one
next week,
query.
yeah, please tell me.
Yeah. So you will also share some written notes or PDF files regarding, or we have to
Mm,
note down from our end? What are
you
you
have to
telling?
note down, you listen to, that's what I've been saying, listen to the classes or note it
Okay.
down. Okay, or
Sure.
I mean, I have some notes, but I don't know who will write these notes. I want somebody to write these notes and publish it, because I don't have the patience to type it in a notepad and give it to you
Yes.
all. Okay, so let's see. I mean, this classes itself should be good enough, guys, but and you should be able to, I mean, again, in the interviews, don't bad anything, don't mug up anything, and don't go talk about it in the interview as if you're mugged up. Listen to the class, practice in front of the mirror. If they asked what is a black box testing, ask for a pen and a paper, draw the complete architecture, say that this is a 3-tier architecture, and say that, okay, from the client itself you are doing everything and you need not have to have the knowledge of all this, then this is a black box tester. People will go crazy, I'm telling you. Instead of saying that, okay, black box testing, if one performs testing only on the functional part of the application without having the knowledge of the structural part, then that method is called a black box testing. People will not like that definition. Okay, if you're by-hatting those definitions and talking about it in the interview, people might not like it. Draw these pictures, tell him that you check only the functional part, you really don't care about the coding part or anything or what is happening on the back end. You explain it to them. Okay, then they know that, okay, you are talking, you have done this, you know this, and you're talking about it. Okay, it should always be like that. And practice in front of the mirror every day, guys. Ask yourself the question and practice in front of the mirror. Even yesterday, there is one guy who got the job. His name is Ramakrishna. Okay, so I took a mock interview. That mock interview was also put on my YouTube channel. Okay, that mock interview also is put on my YouTube channel. Okay, so within 1 week he got the job. Performance testing mock interview. Okay, so this, where will you see that? The third or fourth link will, this is the one, how to crack a job interview in performance testing. This is what I have taken, and this guy, I have taken the interview on 29th July. Okay, today he got the job. Yes, he has taken few jobs, he was not able to, he has taken some interviews, he was not able to crack the job. So I took some mock interview and then helped him. Okay, he already got the job.